Rain pounded the pavement like 1,000 accusations as I stumbled out of the bar. My vision blurred not just from the whiskey but from the weight of secrets I'd been carrying for years. My bike had broken down blocks away, and in a haze of desperation, I called the only mechanic I trusted, Jake, the straight-as-an-arrow guy who'd fixed my ride more times than I could count. But when he arrived, his eyes held something unfamiliar, and before I could process it, his lips crashed against mine, shattering the fragile facade of my closeted life in small-town America. I pulled back, heart racing, staring at Jake under the flickering streetlight. "What the hell was that?" I whispered, my voice barely audible over the storm. He looked as shocked as I felt, rain dripping from his dark hair, his grease-stained hands trembling as he reached for me again. "Alex, I don't know, but I've been fighting this for months." Months? The word echoed in my mind like a betrayal. Jake, the epitome of Midwestern masculinity, with his pickup truck and weekend football games, confessing feelings for me? Me, the guy who'd spent his 20s hiding his sexuality from a conservative family that preached traditional values like gospel. We stood there, soaked and silent, until the reality hit me. My bike's engine problems were nothing compared to this. I grabbed my helmet from the ground, muttering, "Fix the damn bike, Jake, that's all." But as he knelt to inspect the sputtering motor, his glance upward was laced with unspoken longing. I hopped on a bus home that night, my mind reeling. How had I missed the signs? The lingering conversations at his garage, the way he'd offer free tune-ups, the subtle compliments that I'd dismissed as friendly banter. Now, everything clicked into place, but it felt like a puzzle I'd never wanted to solve. The next morning, sunlight streamed through my apartment window in downtown Chicago, mocking the turmoil inside me. I was Alex Thompson, 28, a graphic designer at a mid-level firm, living a double life. By day, I blended in with the corporate crowd. By night, I sought fleeting connections in anonymous bars, always careful not to let anyone get too close. My family back in rural Illinois thought I was just a confirmed bachelor, too focused on my career for romance. If they knew the truth, it would destroy them, especially my father, a retired cop who viewed anything outside the norm as a threat to society. Jake's text buzzed on my phone. "Bike's ready. Come by the shop." I hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen. Ignoring him wasn't an option. I needed my ride for work. Pulling on my jacket, I headed to his garage on the outskirts of the city, the familiar scent of oil and metal hitting me as I walked in. Jake was under a car, but he slid out when he heard my footsteps, wiping his hands on a rag. "Hey," he said, his voice steady but his eyes avoiding mine. "About last night," I started, but he cut me off. "It was a mistake. Too much beer after a long shift. Won't happen again." His words stung, but relief washed over me. Maybe we could pretend it never happened. As he handed me the keys, our fingers brushed, and a spark ignited, literal and figurative. "Bills on the house," he added, turning away quickly. Driving home, I couldn't shake the unease. Was it really a mistake? Or was Jake hiding just like me? That evening, my sister Emily called. "Mom's planning a family reunion next month. You bringing anyone?" Her tone was light, but I knew the underlying pressure. At 25, she was already married with a kid, the picture-perfect daughter. "Nah, solo as usual," I replied, forcing a laugh. But her next words hit hard. "Dad's been asking about you. Says it's time you settled down. You know how he is." I did know. Dad's worldview was black and white. Men married women, had kids, built legacies. Anything else was weakness, a societal ill. Growing up, I'd heard his rants about those people ruining America. It had forced me into silence, burying my first crush on a classmate deep inside. Now, at 28, that silence was a cage, and Jake's kiss had rattled the bars. Days blurred into routine, but Jake lingered in my thoughts. I avoided his garage, opting for overpriced chain mechanics instead. Then, fate intervened. My bike stalled again during a late-night commute, stranding me on a deserted highway. With no choice, I called him. He arrived in his truck, tools in hand, his face illuminated by the headlights. "Engine's shot this time," he said after a quick check. "Need to tow it back." In the cab of his truck, silence stretched like a taut wire. Finally, he broke it. "Alex, about that night. It wasn't the beer. I've been confused for a while." His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. "Wife left me 2 years ago. Said I was distant. Maybe she was right. Wife." The revelation floored me. Jake had never mentioned being married before. "Kids?" I asked. He shook his head. "No, thank God. But my folks, they're old school. If they knew." We shared a glance, the air thick with unspoken understanding. Two men, trapped by expectations, drawn together by something undeniable. At the garage, as he worked, I watched him. Strong arms flexing, brow furrowed in concentration. "Why me?" I finally asked. He paused, setting down his wrench. "You're real, Alex. Not like the guys at the bar who hit on anything that moves. You listen. You get it." That night, we talked until dawn. He confessed his internal battles. The church upbringing that labeled same-sex attraction as sin. The fear of losing his business in a conservative neighborhood. I shared my own scars. The high school bullying I'd endured in silence. The college years experimenting in secret. The constant dread of being outed. By morning, an uneasy alliance formed. We wouldn't act on it, but we wouldn't ignore it either. Yet, temptation brewed. A week later, Jake invited me to a local auto show, just as friends. I went, telling myself it was harmless. Amid the revving engines and polished chrome, our hands brushed again, this time lingering. "This is dangerous," I whispered. He nodded, but his eyes said otherwise. Back home, guilt gnawed at me. Was I leading him on? Or was this the start of something real? My phone rang. "Dad. Son, your mother's worried. Come home this weekend." His voice was gruff, but concern laced it. I agreed, packing my bag with dread. The drive to Illinois was a blur of cornfields and regrets. At the family farm, Mom greeted me with hugs and apple pie, Dad with a firm handshake. Emily and her husband were there, their toddler babbling happily. Dinner was the usual. Talk of weather, crops, politics. Then Dad steered into dangerous territory. "Heard about that pride parade in Chicago. Disgraceful. What's the world coming to?" His words were like knives. I nodded mutely, stomach churning. That night, in my childhood room, I texted Jake, "Can't do this. Too risky." His reply was swift. "I understand. But I can't stop thinking about you." The message glowed in the dark, a beacon of forbidden desire. The weekend dragged on, filled with forced smiles and evasive answers. When I left, Mom pulled me aside. "You seem distant, Alex. Everything okay?" I lied. "Just work stress." But her eyes searched mine, sensing the lie. Back in Chicago, I threw myself into work, designing logos that screamed normalcy. But Jake's garage was a magnet. One evening, I caved, dropping by under the pretense of an oil change. He was alone, closing up. "Missed you," he said simply. Before I could respond, he pulled me into a hug. Not passionate, but desperate. "What are we doing?" I murmured against his shoulder. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of stolen moments and mounting tension. Jake and I met in hidden corners, late-night drives along Lake Michigan, quiet coffees in out-of-the-way diners where no one knew us. Each encounter deepened the connection, but also amplified the risks. "This can't last," I'd say after a particularly intense conversation about our fears. Jake would squeeze my hand under the table. "One day at a time, Alex. But secrets have a way of unraveling." My coworker, Sarah, noticed my distraction. "New girl?" she teased during lunch. I forced a smile. Something like that. Her prying eyes made me paranoid. What if she suspected? In a city like Chicago, acceptance was growing, but in my professional world, being out could mean subtle discrimination, missed promotions, awkward silences. Worse was the family pressure. Emily called more frequently, hinting at setups with her friends' sisters. "You're not getting younger, bro." Each call was a reminder of the life I was supposed to lead. Then came the bombshell, Dad's health scare. A minor heart episode, but enough to summon me home. Arriving at the hospital, I found him pale but defiant. "Just a blip," he grumbled. Mom fussed over him, while Emily whispered, "He's been stressed about you. Thinks you're hiding something." Guilt twisted in my gut. Hiding? If only they knew. During my visit, I helped around the farm, mending fences, literal and figurative. One evening, Dad cornered me in the barn. "Son, life's short. Find a good woman, settle down. That's what I did with your mom." His words were meant to inspire, but they felt like chains. I nodded, swallowing the truth. Back in the city, Jake sensed my turmoil. "Talk to me," he urged during a walk in Grant Park. I confessed the family visit, the expectations weighing me down. "They'd disown me, Jake. And you, your business, your friends." He stopped, turning to face me. "Maybe it's worth the risk. Hiding's killing us both." His words ignited a spark of hope, but reality crashed in. That night, as we parted, a mutual friend spotted us. Mike, a guy from Jake's softball league, raised an eyebrow. "Didn't know you two were buddies." Jake laughed it off, but the seed of doubt was planted. Days later, the first crack appeared. Jake's ex-wife, Lisa, showed up at his garage. I was there, helping with inventory as a favor. She eyed me suspiciously. "Who's this?" Jake introduced me casually, but her gaze lingered. Later, he admitted, "She suspects something. Always did, even when we were married." The revelation hit hard. Had Jake been in denial his whole life? Why marry her then? I asked, anger bubbling. He sighed. "Pressure. Everyone expected it. I thought I could make it work." His honesty was raw, exposing the mouth-wan duk we'd both ignored. Was our connection built on lies? To ourselves, to others? Tensions escalated when Mike confronted Jake at a bar. "Saw you with that guy. Anything I should know?" Jake denied it vehemently, but the damage was done. Rumors spread through his circle, subtle at first, then overt. Customers dwindled. A long-time client canceled, citing personal reasons. Jake's frustration boiled over during our next meeting. "This is what I feared," he shouted in his empty garage. "My life's falling apart because of us." I recoiled. "Us? You kissed me first." The argument turned heated, words like weapons. "Maybe we should end it," I said finally, voice breaking. But we didn't. Instead, we clung tighter, the drama fueling the passion. I started questioning my own choices. Why hadn't I come out sooner? Fear, always fear. Therapy sessions I'd secretly attended urged authenticity, but the cost seemed too high. Then betrayal struck. Emily visited Chicago unexpectedly, crashing at my place. While I was at work, she snooped, found texts from Jake on my phone. That evening, she confronted me. "Alex, are you gay?" Her voice was a mix of shock and concern. I froze, then nodded. Tears welled in her eyes. "Why didn't you tell me? Does this mean you and Jake?" I begged her to keep it secret. "Please, Eminencia, Dad's heart." She promised, but her hug felt tentative. The next day, she left, but the seed was sown. Jake faced his own crisis. His parents, devout Christians, heard the rumors. His father called, "Son, tell me it's not true." Jake lied, but the strain showed. "I can't lose them," he confided to me. "They're all I have." Our relationship teetered on the edge. A romantic dinner turned into a fight when I pushed for openness. "We can't hide forever." Jake slammed his fist. "Easy for you to say. You don't have a business to lose." The breaking point came at a family event. I attended Emily's son's birthday, tension thick. Dad pulled me aside. "Heard some things from Emily. Is there something you need to tell me?" My heart stopped. Emily had talked? Betrayal burned hot.
No, Dad.
Nothing. The lie tasted bitter. Driving back, I called Jake. "It's over. My sisters outed me indirectly." Silence, then, "Maybe it's for the best." But it wasn't. Alone in my apartment, I crumbled, the weight of decisions crashing down. Had I chosen wrong by pursuing this? Or was the real mistake hiding for so long? The next morning, Jake showed up at my door, eyes red. I can't let you go. We talked for hours, weighing the costs. Coming out meant potential loss. Family, friends, stability. But continuing in shadows meant losing ourselves. In a moment of clarity, we decided to face it together. First step, tell our closest allies. I called Emily, confronting her betrayal. I trusted you, she sobbed. I was scared for you. Dad needs to know gently. Her words forced a reevaluation. Was her action betrayal or tough love? The lines blurred, morality a gray area. Jake confided in a trusted friend, who surprisingly supported him. Man, love is love. The small victory bolstered us. But the storm intensified. Dad called, voice thunderous. Emily told me everything. Is it true? The confrontation I dreaded arrived. Yes, Dad. I'm gay. Silence stretched eternally. Then, don't come home. You're no son of mine. The words shattered me. Mom's tearful plea followed. Give him time. But time felt like an enemy. Jake's side mirrored mine. His parents disinvited him from family gatherings, calling it a phase. Customers boycotted his shop, forcing layoffs. The price was steep: isolation, financial strain, emotional wreckage. Yet, in the ruins we found strength. Our bond deepened, forged in fire. The fallout from our confessions rippled outward like shockwaves, testing every relationship we held dear. Dad's rejection hit hardest. His silence in the weeks following was louder than any shout. I tried calling, but he hung up each time. Mom mediated in whispers. He's hurt, Alex. Praying for you. Praying? As if my identity was a curse to be lifted. The religious undertones stung, reminding me of childhood sermons that equated love like mine with damnation. Jake fared no better. His garage, once bustling, echoed with emptiness. Bills are piling up, he admitted one evening as we sat on my couch, sharing a pizza that tasted like cardboard. Might have to sell. His voice cracked, revealing the man beneath the tough exterior. A guy who'd built his life from nothing, now watching it crumble because of me. Guilt consumed me. This is my fault. I pushed you. He shook his head.
No, Alex.
I chose this. We both did. But his eyes betrayed the regret. That night, we held each other, not in passion, but in shared grief, the weight of our decisions pressing down. Society's judgment amplified the pain. At work, whispers followed me after Sarah pieced it together. Didn't peg you for that? A colleague joked, masking disdain. I smiled through it, but inside, rage simmered. Why did my love threaten them? Chicago's progressive facade cracked, revealing pockets of prejudice. Emily's role gnawed at me.
I konfrontet her over coffee.
You promised secrecy. Why tell Dad? She fidgeted. He sensed something. I thought easing him in would help.
I'm sorry.
Her apology rang hollow at first, but her tears softened me. I love you, Alex. Just want you happy. Was her betrayal born of love? The moral ambiguity twisted my gut. Jake faced a similar dilemma with Mike. The friend who'd spread rumors now apologized. Didn't mean harm, just shocked. Jake forgave him, but trust fractured. People change when it suits them, he mused. Amid the chaos, moments of awakening emerged. A support group for LGBTQ+ individuals in the city became our lifeline. There, we heard stories mirroring ours. Families torn, careers jeopardized, yet resilience shining through. One man shared, "The pain fades, but authenticity lasts." His words inspired, but doubt persisted. Was the freedom worth the wreckage? High drama unfolded when Jake's ex, Lisa, reappeared. She stormed into the garage, papers in hand. Divorce wasn't enough? Now this. Her accusations flew. You lied to me for years. Jake stood firm. I lied to myself.
I'm sorry.
But she wasn't done. I'll tell everyone. Your clients, your family. Blackmail hung in the air. I arrived mid-confrontation, stepping between them. Leave him alone. Her glare turned to me. You're the reason? Some fling destroying lives. Her words cut deep, labeling our bond superficial. Jake defended us. It's real, Lisa. More than we ever had. She left in fury, but the threat loomed. True to form, she posted online, anonymously but traceable, outing Jake to his network. Business plummeted further. We're done, Jake whispered that night, defeat in his voice. But I refused to let go. Fight back. We sue if needed. My determination surprised even me. Together, we consulted a lawyer, learning about defamation laws. The process was grueling, exposing our vulnerabilities, but it bonded us deeper. Family tensions peaked at Thanksgiving.
Mom invitait de me, sans dade s'approval.
He'll come around, she hoped. I brought Jake a bold move. The dinner was tense. Awkward silences, forced politeness. Dad barely spoke, his disapproval palpable. When Emily's husband made a homophobic quip, disguised as humor, Jake snapped. That's not funny. The table froze. Dad exploded. This is my house. My rules. He stormed out, leaving Mom in tears. Emily pulled me aside. You shouldn't have brought him. Betrayal again? He's part of me, I retorted. The drive back was silent. Jake's hand in mine a small comfort. Worth it? He asked. I nodded, but uncertainty gnawed. In the city, we rebuilt slowly. Jake pivoted his business online, targeting inclusive clients. I came out at work, earning mixed reactions but gaining allies. Small victories amid losses. Yet moral quandaries persisted. Had we selfishly upended lives? Lisa's pain was real, Dad's heartbreak tangible. One night, over wine, Jake confessed, sometimes I wonder if repressing was easier. His honesty shook me. But then I'd never have you. Our love evolved, tempered by trials. We attended pride events cautiously, finding community. But shadows lingered, anonymous hate mail, judgmental stares. A turning point came when Dad called unexpectedly. Need to talk. We met at a neutral diner. His face was lined, eyes weary. I don't understand it, son, but I miss you. No full acceptance, but a crack in the armor. Tears flowed as we hugged awkwardly. Jake's parents followed suit, inviting him for coffee. We're trying, his mom said. Progress fragile but real. But not all wounds healed. Lisa sued for emotional distress, dragging us into court. The proceedings were brutal. Private texts exposed, motives questioned. Was it an affair during marriage? Her lawyer probed. Jake denied, but doubt seeded. The judge ruled in our favor, but victory felt Pyrrhic. Reputations tarnished, savings drained. Through it all, our bond held, but at what cost? Friends lost, families strained, selves transformed. As winter blanketed Chicago, we reflected on the journey. Regrets? I asked Jake by the fireplace. He smiled faintly. Some. But I'd choose you again. The awakening was bittersweet. Freedom laced with scars. Society's acceptance was uneven. Personal growth uneven still. With the lawsuit behind us, a fragile peace settled. But the undercurrents of drama swirled relentlessly. Jake's garage teetered on closure, forcing hard decisions. Maybe move to a bigger city, I suggested, browsing listings in San Francisco. He hesitated. My roots are here. Starting over means admitting defeat. His stubbornness clashed with my optimism, sparking arguments that left us exhausted. One heated night, words escalated. You're asking me to abandon everything, Jake yelled. I shot back. Everything? Or the cage holding you back? We slept apart, the rift widening. Morning brought apologies, but the fracture lingered. A reminder that love alone couldn't erase practicalities. Family dynamics shifted unpredictably. Dad's tentative outreach evolved into sporadic calls. How's work? He'd ask, avoiding deeper topics. I shared surface details, yearning for more. Mom confided, he's reading books on it. Give him time. Hope flickered, but skepticism remained. Emily, remorseful, became an ally, educating her husband on sensitivity. Jake's side was rockier. His parents' trying manifested in judgmental questions. Is this permanent? His father's disapproval manifested in withheld financial help for the business. Prove you're still my son, he demanded implicitly. Societal pressures mounted. A local news story on LGBTQ+ rights featured a boycott of non-traditional businesses, Jake's included. Hate comments online poured in. Freak show. We reported them, but the toll was emotional. Why fight? Jake despaired one evening, scrolling through vitriol. Because silence enables it, I replied, pulling him close. Our resilience grew, but so did the weariness. Therapy helped unpack the trauma. My internalized shame, Jake's repressed identity. You've both paid dearly, the counselor noted. Now reclaim joy. We tried. Weekend getaways to secluded cabins offered respite. Conversations flowing freely without fear. Remember our first kiss? Jake mused by a lake. Chaotic, but honest. Laughter returned, mending bonds. But betrayal lurked anew. Mike, the forgiven friend, leaked details to a gossip chain, reigniting rumors. Jake confronted him. Why? Mike shrugged. Didn't think it'd hurt. The casual cruelty stunned. Jake cut ties, a painful but necessary amputation. My work life stabilized, with supportive colleagues outweighing detractors. A promotion came, affirming my value beyond identity. Proud of you, Jake said, toasting with cheap champagne. Yet moral dilemmas persisted. Had we inadvertently hurt others? Lisa's lawsuit loss left her bitter. She moved away, severing ties. Her pain's on me, Jake admitted. I countered. You can't control her reactions. We all choose paths. A climactic confrontation arose when Dad visited Chicago unannounced. Need to see for myself, he gruffed at my door. Jake was there cooking dinner. Tension crackled as they shook hands. Over meal, Dad probed. What made you this way? Jake answered calmly. It's who I am, like your blue eyes. Dad's face softened slightly. Never thought I'd say this, but if it makes you happy. No embrace but acknowledgement, a monumental step. As he left, he hugged me. Love you, son. Always. Elation mixed with caution. Was this genuine or performative? Time would tell. Jake's business rebounded slowly with new, loyal clients from the community. Word spreads both ways, he noted. But highs invited lows. An old flame of mine resurfaced. Tom, from college days. He messaged, heard you're out. Congrats. Harmless at first, but his persistence unnerved Jake. Jealous, I teased. He admitted, a bit. Your past is freer than mine. The insecurity sparked a fight. You think I'd cheat? I accused. Jake backpedaled. No, but trust is fragile. We navigated it, emerging stronger, but the incident highlighted vulnerabilities. As spring bloomed, we attended our first Pride parade together, nervous, but empowered. Surrounded by allies, the sense of belonging healed wounds. This is us, Jake whispered amid cheers. Yet not all embraced change. Jake's mother called post-event, saw photos online. Embarrassing. Her words reopened scars. The cumulative toll led to a breaking point. One stormy night, mirroring our first kiss, Jake confessed, sometimes I resent this life. Tears streamed. The constant battle, is it worth it? I held him. Only you can decide. The honesty forced reflection. Had our love become a burden? Days later, Jake proposed a trial separation. Need space to think. Devastation hit. After everything? He nodded. To ensure it's right. Alone, I spiraled. Friends consoled. He's scared, but doubt consumed. Was this the end? Emily visited, offering perspective. You've both sacrificed so much. Maybe pause, not end. Jake returned after a week, resolute. I choose us, but we need boundaries, therapy, open communication. Relief washed over. We recommitted, wiser from the brink. Summer brought renewal. Dad attended a family barbecue with us. Awkward but present. Jake's business stabilized. But questions lingered. Had our paths been ethical? The damages, emotional, financial, were real, yet growth undeniable. In quiet evenings, we debated, did we betray our former selves? Jake pondered. Or liberate them? As autumn leaves fell across Chicago, our lives settled into a rhythm marked by cautious optimism and lingering scars. Jake's garage hummed with activity again, thanks to a partnership with a local LGBTQ+ network that funneled supportive clients his way. Feels like a second chance, he said one crisp morning, grease on his cheeks as he smiled at me from under a hood. I nodded, but inside, the echoes of past betrayals whispered warnings. Family reconciliations progressed unevenly. Dad's visits became more frequent, evolving from stiff conversations to shared beers on the porch. Still don't get it all, he admitted during one. But you're my boy. His words, simple yet profound, mended fragments of my shattered heart. Mom baked cookies for Jake, a subtle endorsement. Emily, fully redeemed, hosted us for holidays, her son calling Jake Uncle Jay. Jake's parents thawed slower. His father sent a check for the business. No strings, the note read. His mother called weekly, inquiring about our days without judgment. Progress, Jake mused, though skepticism lingered. Societal acceptance varied. Pride Month brought celebrations but also protests, reminders that battles raged on. A hate crime in the news hit close. We volunteered at a vigil, hands clasped in solidarity. This is bigger than us, I said. Jake agreed. But it starts with us. Personal growth deepened. Therapy unearthed buried traumas. My fear of abandonment, Jake's guilt over his marriage. You've both chosen bravely, our counselor affirmed. But bravery's price? Sleepless nights pondering alternatives. A final test emerged when Lisa returned, seeking closure. She met us at a neutral cafe. I was angry, she confessed. But seeing you happy, maybe I was wrong. Jake apologized again. I hurt you.
No excuses.
Tears flowed. Forgiveness tentative but real. Her departure lifted a weight, blurring lines between victim and perpetrator. Our bond, tempered by fire, shone brighter. Evenings by the lake, we dreamed of futures, marriage, perhaps adoption. Scary, Jake admitted, but exciting. Yet, doubts surfaced in quiet moments. Had we romanticized the struggle? The damages, lost friendships, strained finances, emotional exhaustion were irreversible. Would you change anything? I asked one night, stars above. Jake pondered. The pain? Yes. The outcome?
No.
His answer encapsulated our journey. Flawed choices yielding profound truths. As winter approached, a community event honored local LGBTQ+ stories. We shared ours anonymously, the audience's applause validating the fight. But anonymity irked. Were we still hiding? Full exposure came via a viral post. A photo from Pride, captioned, "Love wins." Comments poured. Support mixed with hate. Dad saw it, calling, "Proud, son." In my way, the unexpected affirmation healed deeply. Jake's business boomed, attracting media attention. An interview request forced a decision. Go public? Yes, we agreed. The piece portrayed us authentically, struggles and triumphs. Post-publication, backlash hit. Boycotts renewed, but allies rallied stronger. Worth it, Jake declared. In reflection, our saga was a tapestry of conflict. Internal wars waged, familial bonds tested, societal norms challenged. Each decision carried a price. Betrayals inflicted and endured, sacrifices made in love's name. Awakenings abounded. Mine in embracing identity, Jake's in shedding denial, families in confronting biases. But morality remained contested. Did ends justify means? The heartbreaks caused. Lisa's, our parents, weighed heavy. As snow blanketed the city, we stood on our balcony, arms entwined. We've come far, I whispered. Jake nodded. And farther to go. The story closes not in resolution, but in question. In pursuing authentic love against all odds, Did we ultimately do right by ourselves and others, or merely trade one set of chains for another?